Mitch, for you, what does success in football season mean this year?
Yeah, I think that's the annual question, and I think that I always talk about improvement, and we've continued to make strides. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, I remember when I look at our team, I'd always think, gosh, we're undersized, and we're smaller than most SEC teams. And that same person said, "Why? I came to walk through the football facility the other day, and we're big. We're a big group of guys. We got some big time players and a big group." And so, no, who is that now? I'm just kidding. But no, it's okay. We got a big group of guys. We look like an SEC football team. Our front lines on both sides of the ball are physical. They look physically big, like we belong in there. And I don't know that we've always had that kind of depth, so I'm hopeful that will help us as we sustain. We're going to sustain some injuries, you always do. In this league, it's part of it. But we want to continue. We would love, obviously, we want to take a step. We've been to 2 bowl games in a row. We'd like to get to that 3rd bowl game. We'd like to win one of those and make some progress in that. It's important. That's what all of our folks want to see, and we understand that there's no one that doesn't slip up on anybody. So to take a step in the SEC standings, to take a step in the postseason, all those things are important, and we understand that. But I look at our team and I look at the talent. Talking to some of our coaches and talking to some people that follow our team from a professional scouts that follow it, they say this is as good a group of students that we've had on our campus in a long time. And so I know these kids have worked awfully hard. We've watched them all summer. They look great. They have put in a lot of hard work, and I think they're ready to go. Schedule's always hard. That doesn't change. We're in the Southeastern Conference. That will not change. And so we'll load up and get going and see what happens.
Coach, I'm an old high school broadcaster from Eastern Kentucky. It so did me good to see this state championship come over here at Commonwealth Stadium, Kroger Field.
Yeah,
it was a great success.
I appreciate it. We enjoyed hosting it. It was we've enjoyed hosting the state championships on our campus. We think that's an important part of who we are. Our connection to young people that are wanting to play games. We want to give them a place that they can dream to play in one day. So whether that's, we've hosted, I think, you look at I don't know the number. We host everything from tennis and track and field to football. We've obviously got the Sweet 16 here in town. I think that's important for a couple reasons. For the University of Kentucky to showcase the incredible campus that we've got. We've got an incredible campus now. If you haven't been to the Student Center, remarkable Student Center. To be able to walk through that and see the changes that have occurred on our campus, whether it's the dorm life, the facilities we've got on our campus. It's good for the city of Lexington. We bring people to the city. We have an opportunity to showcase Lexington and for people to come and spend some time in our city. It's really, really important. But I think it's to make it a destination place for young people to want to come play college sports. If they're capable of playing the Southeastern Conference, we want them to understand what it looks like to play in our facilities. So we're excited and glad we get to do it and looking forward to doing it again.
Mitch, not only are you the longest serving SEC AD, but you're also the chair of the SEC ADs. From the perspective of that position, how do you think the current Kentucky football program stacks up to the others in the league, especially in regard to fan support from the administration?
Yeah, I think our support is fine. We in terms of the things that we do to support football, I think that people always, they had questions. Were we committed? And I think we answered those questions a few years back. With the renovation of the stadium and the addition of the football complex and the way we've supported it in terms of staffing, I think we're in a good spot. We are an SEC school that looks like an SEC school, and we've got SEC students in our program. I think that that you still got to go win on the field, and that's part of it. And I was telling I've talked to our teams, all of our teams, not just football, but it's a tough league, and you got to understand that when you get in it. This is not one of those things you get to take a day off, and you can't give a day away. And Coach Mitch talks about that all the time. You cannot give a day away, and so I talk our folks and have used that a little bit around the way. Just don't give a day away. And but I don't think my tenure as an AD has a whole lot of an impact on what we do from a football perspective, other than to say I've been around it long enough to know that it's. I think we're the best conference in America, competitively top to bottom. It is a really, really hard place to play, and but that also makes it a real honor to play in the league. And the friendships in the league are great. I have great friendships from an athletic director's perspective. I respect the guys in the league. We have a good fellowship, but also great competitiveness between us. And so I look forward to those days. And we shake hands beforehand, we shake hands afterwards, and I think that's what it should be. I think that's the beauty of this league.
As this sports gambling legislation starts to come online state to state, how much does that change life for you, and how much concern do you have just on the big picture about trying to handle it?
I think that there's been gambling on sports for a long time, Eric, to be real honest with you. Legal and illegal. This changes the game. And I think that there's concern, to be honest with you, and I think in patience, moving cautiously into this area has a lot of merit. There's going to be a lot of conversations nationally about we must do these things to ensure. I think some of those things we've been doing on our own. I think there'll be some national governance in some way, that whether that comes from the NCAA, whether that comes from states or federal. There will be something that happens that gets hopefully some boundaries to all of that. To say there isn't concern, I think would be the wrong thing to say. I think we need to be really smart and understand that it puts pressures in some unique areas. And so you talk about conversations about player availability, and you talk about injury reports and anything like that. There's all sorts of issues adjacent to that I think we need a real conversation, and to rush in and say that we're ready to take those on by August 31st, I'm not sure is the right thing. I think you might be making some mistakes and then having to go back and correct. Once the genie's out of the bottle, it's really hard to get it back in. So let's make sure that what we do with real intelligence and real pause, if you will. There's not 50 states legalizing gambling right now. And there's not, obviously there's some changes that have occurred. It's now different. But I think we need to be really cautious and not race to a new spot without real thought. Yeah, John.
Nationally, college football attendance has declined over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
How, just from a national perspective, how do you get that turned around?
Yeah, I think there's concerns. I mean, there's some programs that have had incredible success that are down in season tickets. There's two pieces to that. One, there's discretionary time and discretionary dollars for all fans for what they do. The other issue is the way people buy tickets in today's world. So with the way to buy the available tickets on secondary markets, people are making decisions to not have a season ticket and just say, I'll just go ahead and buy what's available from someone else that's not going and catch it on a secondary market. Well, that changes obviously the stable finances for programs that count on season tickets and that stability. Doesn't mean you can't sell the ticket, but it has to mean that you're selling it differently. So everyone's, I won't say freaking out, but they go, oh my gosh, season ticket numbers are down. They're sort of stagnant or down a lot of places. And that's not unusual. Again, there's programs that had incredible success that are seeing numbers drop because the ticket buying mechanism for a lot of folks is different. Having said that, the game of football is also, we're broadcasting it in a lot of ways. You can catch games on TV. So we got to give fans a reason to want to come to the game, whether it's an experience, a tailgate experience before the game where they can fellowship with their friends. When they get in there, it's a competitive, enjoyable environment where there's music, there's good play on the field, and that at the end of the day, there's a safe way to get home. All those things are important. So if you're asking people to invest 6-7 hours of the day, you got to make sure that you do it right. We also got to pay attention to the length of the game. The length of the game, what we're finding is people want to keep it in that 3-hour time frame. You know, and if we can keep it in that time frame, the games can drift a little bit long. Some of the ways we play the game, those games are getting into, some of the games are 3.5, 4 hours. That's too long. We've got to find a way to make sure the game stays within a certain time frame. And we know that fans want that. We get that in response. If you look at some of the popular sports that are out there in terms of television, what people are watching, it is length of game. It matters. And softball, I'll use softball as an example. It is it's one of the fastest growing sports on television. Why? Because the game is 2 hours and you can almost book it. You can book it, it's under 2 hours. And so, you know, sometimes those baseball games can go 3.5, and 4 hours, and fans are turning it off after about 2. So we know that the watching span, or the attention span, if you will, sometimes has to be, we got to understand that. And we got to pay attention to all the things in the fan experience and make sure that we're understanding the discretionary dollars and discretionary time of our fan base is changing. And at the end of the day, not only do you have to, you have to provide a really good product on the field, but at the end of the day, you also have to be cognizant of those other pieces.
Folks, thank you very much. We appreciate
Thanks,
your
John.
time this morning.